we'll see what they prioritize for this one.
Yeah, and I think there's a bunch of champs that are just almost banned in every single situation. You have your Ashe, you have your Rumble, things like Calista very frequently banned. Corki has started to show up in the bans more, Tristana sometimes as well. And the reason I feel like teams are prioritizing red side a bit more is, you know, that first pick is obviously valuable, but you trade it for a 1-2, which can be really strong. You know, we've seen things like Talia Vi be really potent. We've seen things like the Tristana locked in with an AP jungler coming through. Yeah, the Nidalee.
The Tristana Nidalee for, you know, not very much synergy, but, you know, you've got that strong AP mid, or rather AD mid, and then strong AP jungle top tier. I like this Alistar ban. Execute's a great Alistar player in his own right, but Ondal's kind of on top right now, so.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't feel like you need to really ban the Senna away when you've already banned the Nautilus, so maybe leave that. They could. I feel like it might be a Trist first pick if they leave that open, so maybe they target that, or maybe they're happy to trade it and go for like Talia Vi or something in return. They ban the Calista away, pretty standard there, so looks like it's just going to be that Tristana first pick. And will Quantum Freaks answer with a Talia? Or they go in a different direction? I feel like one of the things is, because AP junglers are so strong, it's not just that Corki and Tristana are strong individually, but the emphasis is more heavily on them because it allows you to tap into that AP jungle pool easily. You still can if you have an AP mid lane. It just weakens the combo a little bit. Looks like they're going to go in a different direction and secure the Ezreal here. Felipe, we've seen some great performances from the likes of Pays on this picks. Got a round of buffs after all the item changes kind of knocked him down a peg, so yeah, in a decent spot.
Just feels very early, right? I mean, there's a lot of power picks at the moment. The Talia, the Skarner even. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things you can choose, but the Ezreal priority is through the roof right now for Kwangdong Freaks. And
BNK4X could probably just go like Talia Skarner here, and it'd be really strong. Looking towards the Maokai instead, though, one of those AP junglers who work really well with Tristana. Even before we were sort of seeing like the AP junglers, and it was just more the tank Maokai, that combo was really potent. And it really comes down to, I mean, you have options here. They could secure some like Rel, Execute is definitely a favored one, but I think Skarner makes the most sense. And then for Quantum Freaks, some tricky choices. If you want the Cassante, you have to take it now. Alternatively, if you want to take something in the mid lane to match up in the Tristana, you might need to prioritize that here before things start to get banned away.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, especially with the AP jungle. Bulldog actually one of those guys that can play stuff like the Hui in the mid lane, stuff that we have seen here and there. So maybe not going to be playing that with the Nidalee, but instead they just go for the Dusante, which I think is a good choice. That would 100%, like 1,000% be banned away if they didn't pick it here. So got to take that one right now for Dudu.
Yeah, and I think now Quantum Freaks can, you can either further target Execute School and ban away more of these sort of engage picks, because like Leona Rel's still open, but with their AD carry secured, it looks like they're just going to start targeting that pool. Zeri is going to get taken away. Maybe we see Kai'Sa also taken off the cards as an option. On the side of Quantum Freaks, you know, I guess, you know, if you feel like there's mid laners that you strongly think Bulldog's going to bring out, but Bulldog, we've always felt like it's been more of a mage player. So a lot of the picks that people go to when the main AD mid laners are gone aren't really as much in his wheelhouse. You know, like, do we expect Bulldog to bring out a Yone? Not really.
Yeah, I feel like he has, but yeah, definitely not expected, as you're saying. So definitely that's the big question mark for me. Like, what is he going to be playing? And they might just save it for last pick. Although maybe you want to save the support because you'll get to see the duo before you have to pick it. If you do save that for last pick and you already know that Tristana's in mid. There's that Kai'Sa ban you were talking about. So definitely bolstering the Ezreal just in general and is going to make his lane a lot easier.
I just realized it's very interesting. They banned Senna, so maybe they're not certain this Ezreal's going in the bot lane.
Ezreal mid?
Yeah, could be thinking about that. It kind of just dawned on me like a second later. They do ban the Leona, and it looks like they might be onto something. Quantum Freaks opting to hover some AD carry picks here. I mean, if they pick the Lucian, we have no idea. Like, both could go in either direction. We've seen Chovy play the Lucian mid. Considering it was Chovy, it wasn't like a pick that completely took over the game, but served its purpose. But it looks like we won't be getting any shenanigans. They will just lock its way, which has been a really big pick for Bulldog. Now for BNK Fearx, the question is, what do they bring out in terms of AD carries? They could just go, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
They have AD from the Tristana. The ideal pairing we see, very popular in the LPL, is Ziggs Leona, but with Leona gone, Ziggs Rel works pretty effectively. Execute very comfortable on the Rel. I think it's one of his best picks. And now for the Quantum Freaks, what do you take in the support role into this? You know, a lot of the engaged champions we could have, you could just take the Rakan.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, looking towards the Poppy, something that can cancel the dashes off the Rel, but I think the Rakan makes more sense, so they will lock that in.
Yeah, I mean... It would have been nice if you didn't have so much AP. You could have even considered like a Karma, but with the amount of engage with the Rel and the Maokai, certainly looking at some options, thinking about the Poppy, and then eventually going for Rakan to just bolster their own engage. And yeah, pretty interesting to see Ondil on this pick.
Yeah.
Excited to see him play it.
Not ideal when Maokai's in the other team, just because of that point-and-click CC.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense because they do need some CC, and also the Rakan, obviously good at engaging, but can provide that disengage as well. The side of Quantum Freaks is definitely a more poke-oriented composition, but I'm kind of thinking BNK Fearx have a lot of really solid picks in the meta. You know, with the Tristana, the Maokai, the Skarn on the top side, you got to feel comfortable about that. I'm kind of favoring how their draft has played out, but I still think there's definitely ways Quantum Freaks can play it. If they play at range, if they play around the poke, if Nidalee gets ahead, all these things could result in them coming out with a win. But I think in terms of how straightforward it is...
Whoa, look at that guy.
I didn't see
Put those guns away, that's dangerous.
Gotta be careful.
No, I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. I think that Quantum Freaks came in with a certain plan. And that does mean that if you're going to target select some picks that are not necessarily S tier, you're going to give a lot of S tier picks over. And this top side for BNK is ferocious. It's huge. It's a lot of strength and a lot of poke here on the side of Quantum Freaks. We'll see how this goes for them, bolstered by the Rakan and the Cassante. As we are ready, let's hop into the rip for game number 1. All right, game number 1. We'll see if BNK Fearx can stop the loss streak of games, or if Quantum Freaks will continue with their storm here in summer.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting how both compositions have kind of only one AD threat. We have the Ezreal for Quantum Freaks, and we have the Tristana for Closer. So if those two fall behind, you might start to feel things getting a little bit rougher, especially, I mean, with the Cassante being so tanky, but particularly on Quantum Freaks, if Leaper falls behind, I mean, Ezreal already does a decent amount of magic damage anyway. You know, we could see Clear, Raptor, and Execute heavily investing into magic resist, and then just, you're not able to touch them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there is already heaping helpings of magic damage. Just Henna probably going to enjoy his Manifold Band stack, but he's not going to enjoy the fact that his red buff is being taken away. And Raptor has started on the blue buff on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you have a composition like this, when you have a Nidalee, you should be doing everything you can to find advantages in the early game. I love this invade. And now really it comes down to the top side of BNK Fearx to see if they can support an invade from Raptor. You can see that the pings come out from Raptor. He was looking as if he wanted to move in.
Oh, Closer's getting in there. Cuz is here with red buff. Closer, no jump, so he's just being poked down, and he has to flash 2 minutes into the game. Just trying to push that lead, not expecting Cuz to be there that early.
And that's the thing, right? Closer wants to try and apply pressure on the Tristana, wants to be in a position where Raptor can invade and take away these red side camps from Cuz. But after that gank, there's no way Raptor can try and go on to the other side of the map. And now he's only got one camp left, those Krugs. And then what else is he going to do? I mean, he can go for Scuttle Crab, and then he'll have to try and make a gank happen. If Quantum Freaks are ready to avoid it, he could be in a really bad spot.
Yeah, and you would imagine this is being communicated throughout the Quantum Freaks team. They're going to say, okay, this Maokai is just only going to have 4 camps and a Scuttle Crab, so be ready because he's probably going bot. As Execute has been pretty good about setting up some of these plays here and getting a lot of poke damage down with the help of the Ziggs, who at this moment in time is a bit low on mana. We'll still hope he doesn't build the tier, but we'll see about that as this comes along.
We've seen a big change in Ziggs builds generally. You know, at first people were just going for, oh, this is it.
Leaper's in a lot of trouble. I mean, he's going to cleanse, but he also has to flash as another bomb is going to be thrown into him. And this trade is being taken right as Raptor is here. Raptor going to see the Nidalee, though, and put down his own ward. Maybe wants to try to get a smite still here after some of that pressure from bottom lane. Going to force the reset.
Yeah, really good trades from BNK FairX's bot lane, allowing Raptor to regain some control of the jungle matchup. He gets this, it's really big.
Yeah, he almost certainly should. I mean, Cuz isn't even going near it. So yeah, just going to be able to get in and take the enemy blue buff away.
Yeah, I mean, I can't highlight how big that is for Raptor. Obviously, was kind of looking for the gank in the bot lane, didn't get it, but the pressure that came out from BNK FairX's bot lane allows him to rebalance things. We get Henna, who's going to recall. He's buying some of the components of the Lost Chapter. No tier yet, though, which we like to see. Heading back to lane, but that mana definitely going to help. And yeah, we've seen a lot more of the Ziggs just going for like actual damage builds. I feel like the mana pool from Archangels and the shield, it's just kind of unnecessary. You'd rather be getting the damage output on Ziggs, especially when you can play at such a safe distance against most picks. Oh no. Yeah,
Claire just exploring the river, and he's going to find a very angry cat there.
And the wave's in such a bad spot.
Yeah.
We'll pop a biscuit there just so he can kind of hold up, but I think he's going to need Raptor to come over to help him break this freeze. Although it looks like with that ward there in the river, he feels confident that his jungler's close enough to do it. So looks like his wave state will get fixed here.
Yeah, should be fine. Raptor getting on in there. You can see that time spent in enemy jungle, obviously with the invade at level 1, Cuz going to have a lot of time spent taking the Raptors as well. And you'll see that he is currently a couple of camps ahead, so enjoying the Nidalee buff in the early game, essentially.
And I think a game like this, an early game like this, really illustrates the importance of priority in lanes and playing around them as these junglers, especially when they're setting such fast paces when it comes to clear, and the XP is so much more valuable than it was in spring with those buffs. A great example why a team like Gen G does get such a big lead just when all the lanes are doing so well. But here it's been a bit more fun ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But Henna and Execute, the fact they burned both the Leaper Sums could potentially set something up in this 2v2. They also have the Ignite from Execute, and with Andal having the heal, you're not going to get that much value out of it in an all-in.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we're talking about priority, and CV Max was talking about that a lot after their loss against T1. Might not get to talk about that too much, as the ult is going to hit closer, and the spear is going to sail wide, even though he was slowed. Closer just going to hop away after all that. And Execute coming on over as well here, so he will be just fine after hitting level 6 himself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Trying to start a fight now. I mean, Andal, definitely a lot of mobility on that Rakan, just getting in there and getting out for pretty much nothing. Meanwhile, BNK FairX are being pushed away from these buffs on the top side of the map.
And in this trio, I favor BNK FairX in a fight, but when you're just trying to posture, the poke from Quantum Freaks is doing a lot of work and giving them the advantage. They also have Dudu, the wave bounced in top lane. He's able to get there first. Fight's breaking out.
Yeah, they're going on in. Execute, though, trying to turn here on a Bulldog, but Raptor's super low. He's going to be the first one to go down. Bulldog should be traded, but they have to use so much to get him down, and Execute is left all alone, and Dusante is going to start off the game with 2 kills.
Yeah, and the decisiveness of Quantum Freaks there favored them. They managed to get their first kill, and then the ensuing fight, they take the advantage, and they'll be able to get those 3 grubs. I will say, though, Closer, the combo with Clear, the little alley-oop was pretty sweet, but unfortunately not enough to win them the fight.
Yeah, no, it looks cool, but and Bulldog died. But at the end of the day, it's definitely a huge advantage here to the Quantum Freaks after all of that.
And 2 kills for Dusante. Oh,
yeah.
We've seen moments like this before.
Yeah, we have. And you mentioned it before. I mean, he's going to start with the plated steel caps, but definitely feels like the magic resist could be pretty nice for him as well. But we'll take a look at this replay.
Yeah, so the poke already being down and Execute puts him in a rough spot, but they focus onto Raptor and just one-shot him. And then Closer gets that nice ult, bouncing it clear. That was really slick. But Execute has used all his cooldowns. He has no way of getting out. He's already half HP. And yeah, the decisiveness of Quantum Freaks there really favoring them. Raptor didn't really get to play the game. and they punished that very well. And transitioning, you know, we've seen a lot of teams trading those early grubs for Dragon. Quantum Freaks, with their composition, definitely are happy that they've been able to get both. That is taking a box in terms of how they want the game to go. And we look across the board, Bulldog, you know, we saw him have the early gank from Cuz, but it's really paid off with him having a pretty sizable CS lead already in this mid matchup.
Yeah, no, it just feels pretty amazing at this point in time for the mid and jungle players on the side of Quantum Freaks. And Closer, you know, just trying to catch up as much as he possibly can. But yeah, the priority, definitely something that CV Max was harping on quite a bit, as we do see the jungle lane proximity as well, a lot of proximity around the mid lane. Talking about how the mid and bottom needs to do better about winning their matchups, and just, you know, being able to win in certain situations that you would expect them to.
Yeah.
But so far, I just feel like, you know, Bulldog's doing a good job, but bottom lane, having both the summoners blown early, not so great. As meanwhile, now Raptor in a bit of trouble, gonna eat a big spear to the face, and I'm not sure that they're gonna get the blue buff again. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I mean, the spear's doing a decent amount of poke already, and Andal doing a pretty good job setting up these engages, and even though he obviously didn't get a kill there, that poke just being enough for Cuz to secure the blue and then move up towards his top side. So, you know, we have to talk about Nidalee being a pick where, I mean, realistically, it's not that hard to dodge his spears if there's no CC. So this setup is really important. Rakan, obviously...
Oh, well, that...
a champion who can take a lot of damage when he gets CC'd. But as I was saying, not a pick you typically associate with like fantastic, reliable setup. That's normally things like Nautilus, you know, the Renekton Nidalee. But Andal doing a pretty good job of landing the CC here. And also eating the CC when it came to that bot lane trade.
Yeah, Execute was ready there on the trigger, and then Leaper put on a nice little show for the fans, and actually did a lot of damage to Execute, but it didn't matter all too much. Just throwing in an ult as well, as we do have the Luden's gun.
Yep.
Ready to go here for Hannah. First item, then he buys boots. Definitely feels pretty good.
Yeah, and a lot of burst coming out from this build. Helps with wave play as well. I feel like this is really the point where you can just leave Ziggs completely to his own devices, you know. Lost Chapter's a good one because you have such a big mana pool. But at this point, Henna's Q is going to be maxed in one level. The Ludens give tons of wave clear. Even if 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 people come bot, he can just kill the wave so quickly with his ultimate. It's very hard to pressure, so easy for Execute to roam the map and leave this Ziggs to his own devices. They are putting Leaper in the 1v1 against him, and Henna will always have priority there. We do see Cuz setting up top lane. Ooh.
Yeah, Execute kind of taking a funny angle. Cuz expecting him to take a more aggressive angle there. And Leaper, this is rough because if you use your Arcane Shift and then you run over a bomb, you will take a lot of damage. So careful there, buddy. And he's losing plates as we go. So everything you talked about, Ox, is happening. The Ziggs is enjoying a very free lane at this point in time.
And I feel like BNK FearX, this trio, the mid jungle support, are just so focused, dialed in on dodging skill shots. Unfortunately, a lot of those landed. A bit of poke on Execute, and obviously a long way away from that Warmogs. But it really is, for Quandar Freaks, it's about setting up, getting the poke, establishing vision so you can't see the poke coming to win out these plays, and Leaper is having a rough time.
Yeah. Another Q's going to land, and ult online here. He is going to Arcane Shift easily out of that, but it's still going to push him away, as now, look at this, once again, in goes Raptor, just following with a flash. They're very deep onto this one, as now the Impale coming in. Big Way ultimate, though, is going to take down the Rel, and Desante is just so tanky. Can anyone kill him? The answer is no, as Bulldog just going to kill the rest of the enemy team, as all the focus went on to the Fed Cassante, and Quantum Freaks easily win the fight.
And BNK FearX lose out so massively in the play. They focus onto Andal, that Merc treads by, actually so clutch, saving him from this situation. And I think the biggest thing for me there was Leaper's ultimate got so much value in that play. You know, considering he was getting absolutely blasted in the bot lane, fires one ult, you know, we even have the Ziggs TPing in, and it's not enough to make a difference. We see the root come down. The ult from Andal and the E means he doesn't die immediately and he can disengage. And then the TP comes in, but look at this ult that comes in from the Ezreal. so much value with the poke from the Hui as well. And it just solidifies that advantage. You know, BNK Ferox, I think everything was going right for them in terms of bot lane, in terms of setting up for that. And then look at that gold graph off the back of that one player. They are firmly in the hole.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gigantic, that one team fight. So many kills over the side of Kwangdong Freaks. Extra plates in mid going the way of Bulldog, who is already ahead in CS, ahead in kills and assists here on his opponents. Just getting pretty massive, not to mention the Cassante, the Nidalee, the Ezreal, who was in a rough spot and just picked up 2 assists. Just not even there, just threw an ult in. So, yeah, it's pretty massive. It's a big swing. And now they're looking for their second Drake here. They already have 6 Void Grubs. They're just getting everything at this point.
Yeah, and you know, we kind of said that the composition needed that momentum. You needed like the Nidalee to be ahead and stuff. This is exactly what you want. You know, you're securing these objectives, you win in these skirmishes, you have a significant gold lead. Hextech Soul as well on offer. With a composition like this, you couldn't ask for better. So BNK Ferox are in struggle street right now and need to try and find an angle to stabilize the game. Potentially a pick or something if someone steps out of place. There are members of Kwangdong Freaks who don't have flashes available. Things like the Hui or the Nidalee. A couple of picks would make a lot of difference to get the game back under control, because right now it is kind of falling away from them.
It's fallen away in a big way. And
big way?
In a big way, yeah. Falling away as well.
That is a big way.
It's pretty big. Execute is level 6 and is desperately trying to build a Warmonks. That's the only item that supports can build. Clear is just going to throw in the Impale, but he is being dove by 3 people, so I think eventually, yeah, they will just kill him under the turret, the Impale not mattering too much. Closer, meanwhile, is getting a free turret down on the bottom side, though.
Yeah, it's a consolation prize, but you know what? When I saw, the ult to clear the wave out, pretty nice to slow the pace down, but still, I think Dudu's going to be able to get this on this next wave, and no one's really there to defend. When Andal came in for a split second, I didn't know if it was someone from BNK Ferox or Kwangdong Freaks, and I was like, oh, this could be, oh, never mind, it's Andal. The play's over. Yeah. I feel bad for Clear. It was actually a really nice ult, but just wasn't enough there. The tower, despite the delay from the Ziggs ult, just get delayed. Deeper lands some good poke on a Henna as well. And now looking at 3.5k gold lead. And with Herald up, I think Kwangdong Freaks, if they get a bit of pressure in mid, can look towards that.
Yeah, I mean, should be theirs pretty much for free. Like Maokai, Raptor is on the bottom side of the map. And there is a ward on this, but, you know, the Ziggs is getting poked out. He's backing. He does have TP, but yeah, just going to let it go. Just going to say it's better to give them the Herald than all die in a Herald fight, so.
Yeah. It's also pretty hard to get good value from a Herald against a composition like BNK Ferox's, because the ideal situation, you have like a wave set up, you crash the Herald in, you can take the full tower. Against Ziggs, that's not really that easy to do, and there's a lot of CC from things like the Maokai and the Rel, so if you do overstep on a push, it could be punishing. So I think BNK Ferox make the right decision, just let it go and try and defend against the inevitable Herald push. But the problem is, 2 minutes 30 until that next dragon. I think Kwangdong Freaks will probably drop the Herald mid then to drag BNK Ferox away from the river, and then trying to push back in against so much poke. Not gonna be a fun time.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to heavily commit. It feels like, you know, with the Maokai, the Skarner, the Rel, you have to go very deep for it. But if you cannot find a good engage, you just you just lose your whole health bar to the amount of poke from these champions that are ahead. So you better find a good way to find an engage. But if you're getting pressured at mid, you're behind on gold, you don't have vision control, it's going to be pretty difficult, I'd say, for BNK Ferox. And might have to hope for just a really nice flank or a mistake from Kwangdong Freaks in these next couple of fights.
Especially with both compositions really wanting to be set up on an objective first. You know, with Kwangdong Freaks composition, it's no brainer. You know, your poke heavy composition, you want to deny vision as they face check E-Spears. But for BNK Ferox, Maokai with the saplings, Ziggs with the Hextech minefield, really good at controlling space and denying an area. Not so good at pushing into an area. So getting onto this dragon first and setting up will be absolutely vital. And you can see Execute just coming back from a recall with some fresh wards. They know they need to secure control of this area. I'm just not sure they'll be allowed to.
Andal's just in their face right now. I mean, he's not scared at all. Does have his opposition broken, but he's getting vision down. There's traps as well. And you can see Raptor and Execute, they're kind of the duo that has to get this vision. They have to get saplings in. They have to clear out with some wards. Closer, meanwhile, also pushing the bottom lane once again. So trying to get some prio and bot to help out with fighting for this dragon.
Yep. I will say some things that make this not as bad for BNK Fearx. Bulldog hasn't fully stacked his Seraph yet, hasn't finished his second item. Leaper, Recall, didn't have enough for the full Manamune, which is nearly stacked, and had to go for Ionian Boots. So, you know, it's still a rough spot to be in, but I've seen situations worse than this. So it definitely, I still think it's salvageable, but they really need control of the area, and they need a decisive engage. That's what the composition is going to thrive off.
Look at that banana brush control right now for the Quantum Freaks.
They're going to lock down.
They have just the one control ward, but a couple other wards as well. Just getting ready to fight over this one. And yeah, I mean, again, Leaper wasn't even in the river. He just throws in an ult, pokes Execute down to half, who is level 7. Very, you know, he doesn't have much money at this point in time, right? So see some damage done to the Dragon, but Execute and Raptor need to pull the trigger at some point, and it's Closer over the wall to get it started. You see Raptor and Execute still, they're like, I don't know, man. We can't go in at this point in time.
A lot of damage being done there. From this, Ziggs gets a poke down on a Leaper. The Dragon's getting lower and lower, though. The poke's still connecting. BNK Fearx is 5,000. Raptor might be looking for flash.
Oh.
Execute's flanking.
Execute is just sending it. He's just going in there, and he's going to find Bulldog, who is in a bit of trouble now, as now we got 2 fights brewing here. Raptor tries to get the drink, but he can't. It's Spite stolen away. And now Clear is being bullied here. Execute is going to go down. As now Clear trying to set it up here, but that's Dusante once again. Andel has to flash away. They don't quite have the damage as Clear throws a rock and takes out the Rakan. Also TP coming in. Bulldog wants some follow-up, but Quantum Freak's already got the Drake. And they're just trying to push them away here and maybe get some more value with this Rift Turret.
Yeah, they will. Oh, Henna super low after that poke. They will be able to defend the tower. Smite comes through. I honestly think the passage of play would have been okay for BNK Fearx if they'd got the Dragon. That was the main win con. You know, they ended up trading pretty evenly in terms of the fight, but the Smite secure from Cuz is clutch. Didn't even use the Nidalee Q, the Execute to combo with the Smite. Just sort of took it raw and managed to secure it, and now Quantum Freaks 4,000 gold lead, but 1 Dragon away from Hextech. If they get that, it's game over. I don't see a win con for BNK Fearx.
Yeah, I 100% agree, as we'll see this fight once again. Execute, he tries to set up a big play. He knows he has to go.
And you know, if Bulldog didn't have Flash, this play would have worked with the ult combo, but those summoners against an engage comp are so valuable. And that Cuz just smites, he's not even in range, doesn't combo with the Cougar Q, so just really well played from him. And it gets a little bit messy here. You know, a lot of damage focused onto Dusante, but he's so tanky already. He already has the Jack Show. But they do take out Andal in the back end. And again, you know, if they'd secured the Dragon, it would be a completely different story for BNK Fearx. They'd have walked away from that so happy.
Yeah. You see the struggles of the Rakan sometimes, just trying to follow up on a play, but then he runs over mines and he takes a Q to the face as he's backing away. Just makes it very easy for Henna to put in that damage. Actually, 3rd damage at this moment, not too surprising. As Leaper's got double buff. And he's level 13, so
Spike. You know, I was kind of talking before that last fight, like a lot of things hadn't come through. The Archangel set and the Leandries for Bulldog weren't finished. We now have both those tier items stacked up. You have them completed. This is where Ezreal is so strong. And yes, Ziggs can clear the waves, but a stray Mystic Shot will do so much damage.
That one looks like it hit just a little bit, but not quite enough. And especially with double buff, the Ezreal is just going to feel so nice, even compared to the Ziggs. And yeah, I mean, they're just trying to control the river, but they don't really have a good option here. Andal's going to go in, as he does have Bulldog nearby. And that's a spear. Just the one spear. Gonna throw out the Nature's Grasp, try to get something going on Andal, who is very caught, and they will be able to take him down. A lot of damage done into Raptor here on the follow-up, as well as Execute. Closer, though, says, hey, you don't have a front line. I can just jump into you. And, well, it kind of works there for a little bit. Now got to flash forward, but immediately just dies. And, yeah, you heard my hesitation because I thought that was going to happen, and, well, it did. He died.
Yep. I think they were hoping for a bit more out of that, but Bulldog with the Seraph Shield and the Leandri's health, a lot tankier than you would expect a way to be. Closer tries to force something, it backfires massively. Now Baron's being done. This is a good spot for Ziggs to punish. You have a lot of poke in the pit. Ando's looking for the flank though. Can they stop them? It's so low already. I think it's just gone.
Yeah, I think it's just gone. Like, Henna is putting some damage in, but he's even running out of mana just a little bit. And you can see that Quantum Freaks, they're just going to back away. They got the objective. They don't need to overstay. Might rotate over to mid just to try to clear this one out. Even throwing in a... Yeah, Henna needs to be very careful.
The ult value from this Ezreal this game has been insane. I feel like every single time we see it fired, it's connecting with at least one, usually two, or sometimes three targets. And yeah, here, I actually like the initial play so much. You know, Andal uses his mobility tools, and Rakan without mobility is so vulnerable. This is why Maokai is so good into the pick. Great, fantastic. But look at Execute's health, look at Raptor's health. Stop the play there! And it's a great play!
Yeah.
Oh, let's jump in on Bulldog. Oh, he has a shield now. Oh, he has healing from Nidalee. Oh, I'm gonna flash in. Oh, there's a Fed Ezreal behind me. Oops. And ends up back. You know, not to be too critical of close, I can understand the mindset. The game does feel in a rough spot. You're trying to make something happen, but it's one of these things where they had a good play, and then it backfired so much because they pushed too far.
Yeah, that's kind of been the BNK Ferox calling card for a long time as well, just pushing a bit too far in any situation from behind, from ahead, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And Closer, I think he feels the weight of, okay, you know, I'm in a good spot, I need to try to carry this one. And as now they're looking for Leaper, but he's got Cleanse, and immediately the disengage comes in. Down will go the Maokai, and Andil does his job, provides that front line. Bulldog wasn't even there, just got here. And that's 5v4 now.
That's it, jungler dead. It's an easy Hextech Dragon secure. The poke from Quantum Freaks is too threatening. Judu's taking a bit of damage there, but I don't think he really cares. Once Dragon secures...
They're trying to do both. Just trying to take the play.
They're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, they are, but now we got Leaper in a rough spot. He's going to go down, and this is getting real messy as now the Cassante going to love to open up that backline here. Henna desperate. He's like, please, someone help me. Down he will go, and that is an ace in favor of Quantum Freaks, plus the Hextech Soul. This game is over, Ox.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any way BNK Ferox win from here. Too much of a goal deficit. The Hextech Soul as well, suffocating with this composition. And Quantum Freaks came in with a game plan. And I think you can just look at the top of the screen. You can see the fact it's 4 towers, 1 Baron, 6 Grubs, 4 Dragons. They've had everything. You know, they've had so much in favor of them. And we see this replay. This is one of the problems. If you're playing against this poke comp, you're trying to engage. The sums being up makes such a difference. If Leaper doesn't have Flash or Cleanse, completely different angle there, but he gets away. They lose the Maokai. Quantum Freaks are like, okay, we can secure the Dragon, but they're so confident in the lead. They're like, well, we could secure the Dragon. Or we could, you know, we get a little bit cheeky with it, and it does end up costing a life. We see the play end up getting turned around. And I think it's Leaper eating in here that gets punished by Execute pretty well.
Yeah.
But it still goes so heavily in here. And you see, as soon as the Hextech Soul secured, that chain slow, it's like you can just see, it's not even just the fact the move speed slowed, it's like the hope just drains from all the champions who are hit
just drains all their energy. They're like, oh crap.
God,
you know, I'm just going to lie down and
I need to sleep.
Take a little nap here. You know, that was kind of funny, that spear, because in the back animation, the character actually moves, but the hitbox is the same. So it looked like it was going to hit, but it just doesn't. Henna's like, man, I thought I was going to be poking in this game. And he was early on in the lane. And then, you know, he's done a lot of damage, but...
Yeah. Anyone who has played against a Ziggs and ARAM will just be like, yeah, this is common. You know, he deserves this.
He is getting punished a little bit here.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, it's still a pick that could do a lot of damage, but I think they're just struggling to make it stick. And particularly, you know, we've been pretty critical of some of the Nidalee play, but when you're able to poke without contest, so powerful, but also into a pick like Ziggs, if the Ziggs lands poke, it doesn't always stick, right? You just heal them up. You have Andal, who has a Warmogs, and everyone else, Cuz can just sustain them back through with that the jungle Soraka strategy. And it means that even though Henna's doing a ton of damage, it just isn't really sticking. And also, you have people like Dudu, who, you know, he will technically damage them, but it doesn't really do anything, as he's kind of just immortal. And
I was going to say, like, in that fight, Leaper died immediately, but the real damage dealer, Dudu, was still alive, who looked like he was low on health, but he's Cassante, so absolutely not. He was totally fine, just jumps into 3 people. And
I feel like it's one of these things where teams are very happy to trade Skarner for Cassante. You know, that's such a common trade we've seen.
Yeah.
I feel very apprehensive about doing it against Condor Freaks just because Dudu is such a good Cassante. Like, I genuinely think maybe they would have been better off picking the Cassante and leaving the Skarner, which is so wild to say with how good Skarner is, but this feels pretty bad. The 703 Hextech Soul Cassante. Good luck to your backline.
Yeah, with 4 items, I mean, he got an early lead. He got those 2 kills in mid, and, you know, sometimes it could have been any champ, but it feels even more oppressive when it's Dusante.
Oh, there he is. Look at Slow!
Oh, God. Yeah, he's just going to kill them all. As down will go, execute. He is now legendary, is the Cassante, and now just flashing on the Tristana. A penta angle, but they're not going to give it to him. Kind of difficult to do on a melee champion anyway, but...
Oh no, the 4-6!
Yeah, the 6 is just dead. I mean, there's nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. And Clear is just, well, I guess I'm gonna stop this mid lane from pushing in. But yeah, I mean, we talked about this 5 minutes ago. Quantum Freaks coming in, and now they're looking to actually end the game that they won quite a while ago.
Yeah, and it's just super clinical game from Quantum Freaks. They got everything they needed. They played their comp pretty much to perfection. I had some concerns about it, but I think this is just showing the difference in level of execution between these 2 teams right now. BNK Fearex for 4 kills in the tower, and that was it.
That was it. Extremely clean today from Kwangdong Freaks. That was only game number 1, though. We'll see if they can roll it into another game. Wouldn't be surprised if BNK Fearex try to pick red side themselves and say, okay, we're going to deny red side from you, and let's see how that draft goes in game 2. Maybe we can mix it up a bit. As Cuz getting the big hug from the coach here. A very long hug, as CV Max often likes to do. But yeah, I mean...
He picked him Nidalee and he didn't int. That deserves a long hug. You know?
It's a lot of pressure on you not to int, but Cuz was perfect. And he got some help early on from his team, able to steal the red buff, and then he essentially just controlled the jungle from there. It wasn't much of a contest.
Yeah, and I think games like this, you know, they are firmly in control. You can very easily sort of waver with a composition like this and fall off in those sort of mid-game points. They definitely got to the point where it's insurmountable. But if you make mistakes, this comp can fall behind. But it was so clean. They never gave a window. They never gave a chance. And yeah, hopefully for them, they continue this to game 2.
That is the new Kwangdong Freaks. We'll see about continuing on to game 2. But first, guys, we'll take a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
끝내주면 달라나? 끝내만
해보자. 끝내만해. 내만 있어요.
끝났어.
가보자.
끝났다. 윤두청이라 무조건 끝나겠네.
야, 너무 도전해서 2킬 먹고 끝났다 이게 탑이.
죽여버려.
라킬 줘. 싫어.
없어?
내꺼.
아니 라칸이 뭐.
아 나이스.
아까는 어시 쌓는 게 이득이야 레코드상.
내꺼.
Huge on top of that, so we'll see what they have to go for here. I feel like bans, most of them, like things like the Ash Rumble, pretty standard. The Nautilus going to remain a ban from the Quantum Freaks, not letting Execute get his hands on that. And Tristana going to come out as a ban from BNK Fearex. Something we have seen more and more in recent games is the Tristana ban. Will we see the Corki banned as well as the question? And still obviously Ash, Rumble, and Kalista, which have kind of been staple bans for the whole season.
Yeah, I think those will come through. I think if you... Oh, okay, they're going to take the Ziggs away. So they say, we don't want this to be an answer. Is there any way they just first pick Ezreal again on blue side? It felt kind of weird on the red side, even going along the Nidalee, but you kind of saw what they were doing. But especially because on the red side, you could just take the Nidalee away if you're really scared of it.
I don't think so. I mean, denying the Ziggs kind of makes some sense. Just doing a fair bit of damage on it. And the laning phase went pretty well, you know? They got that pressure on Alipa. They also put a lot of damage into that tier 1 tower. It was only that skirmish that kind of made things backfire. LeBlanc ban comes out away from closer. But now, you know, we were talking about the Ashe, Rumble, Kalista. Only one of them can be banned, so this draft is going to look a little bit different. I feel like maybe you lean towards the Rumble just because Ashe and Kalista, you know, at least that bot laners, they can kind of be traded off. Because if Rumble was first picked by Quandon Freaks and then BNK Fearex took one of Ashe and Kalista, the other one could obviously go over. So we'll see what they have to go for here. If they opt to go for either Ashe or Kalista and prioritize those, or they could just go for the direction of the Nidalee.
He's saying Ezreal, I think, or Ashe. It's probably Ashe. I mean, especially if you give the Ashe over, you can run straight into Ashe. Oh, wow, it's actually Ezreal. You run straight into Ashe Sejuani, which is another combo that's available. Yeah, I thought he was saying Ezreal, just trying to read his lips, but then I thought it was Ashe, just based on the situation in the draft. But
wow.
First pick Ezreal, they're actually doing it.
You're just lip reading, so you know the draft strategies before they got locked in. That's next level. Looking at BNK Fearex, Skarner looking to be locked in, which, you know, obviously very strong. People are taking Skarner over K'Sante, but it does mean Dusante is available. And not sure what they're going to take here.
So, I mean, there's so much power still left, but...
Yeah.
I said, you know, maybe you take the Nidalee away.
I think the Nidalee takeaway makes more sense, because I think there's a good chance Quandon Freaks pick it up if you don't. Now, whether BNK Fearex are able to play around is another question. And they end up on the Viego. Bit of an interesting one. You know, I feel like there were other higher prio picks.
That means that Ox doesn't like it. Just to translate a little bit, he doesn't like that
You're lip reading, you're translating. It just feels weird with so many priority picks being open and available. They sell on the Viego. I guess they're trying to, like, not show their hand, but feels a little bit weird. Quandon Freak's going to take the K'Sante. That is no surprise to anyone.
Yeah, you saw Cuz kind of shaking his head. I think it was just in confusion on to what they're running into, you know?
Yeah, or maybe he'd said he was going to pick Viego this game, and the other team had read his lips. And he's like,
they're looking over
how did they know?
Yeah, they're looking over their computers. I mean, Cuz is a fantastic Viego, but I think what you had last game was totally fine. And you could just do it again.
Well, the thing is,
Nidalee was great. He got POG.
You can do it again, but now they don't have the Maokai, right, as that reliable engage. They don't have the Ziggs, you know. So you say you do it again, but it's like, do it the same but better.
Yeah. Quandon Freaks can do it the same, but just run up against less resistance.
Did you ever have a bop it when you were younger?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it would say when you'd lose, it'd be like, do it the same, but better.
Better, yeah. Zeri's available.
That is a good pickup, you know. That was obviously banned away in the second rotation of bans last time. So a lot of team fight momentum and power. And I think what's really going to be critical is solidifying an engage pick for execute that's reliable. Because if Quandon Freaks maintain distance and poke, you're going to have a rough time. But if you kill someone, if you take out a target, if you get those resets of Viego, get the momentum for the Zeri, that's how they're trying to win on the back of this composition. The problem is you're going into mobile picks. Like the 3 picks on the side of Quandon Freaks are all pretty hard to engage onto. And Nautilus is gone out the window. He's kind of the one everyone leans on as you just press hard, you're good to go.
Yeah. So they banned the Ashe here. They don't want to play it themselves. I guess they give credit to potentially, again, either Ezreal mid or an Ezreal Ashe lane, just to throw that Ashe into the support role. So they'll take that off the board.
They banned the Talia. You know, Talia is pretty good in K'Sante. And the potential to roam important, but I was kind of thinking they might be banning some supports away, but I guess
Alistar.
The thing is, Alistar's good, but I think Alistar might struggle to get on top of like an Ezreal.
Yeah.
You know, there's also the Rel, there's also the Leona. Maybe that was a thought process. It's like there's enough engage supports up that we don't really see the value in trying to ban 2 of them. Maybe they will ban the Alistar now, or maybe they go in a different direction. Rel is obviously something Execute leans on a lot.
Yeah. A lot of discussion here, actually. Bulldog speaking his mind. Probably talking about the mid lane, and it is a Kali.
They've just gone completely like, look, whichever engage support you want to pick, whatever, we don't care. Nautilus is gone, that's enough for us. And they're really trimming Closer's pool now with 3 mid lane bans back to back to back. Looks like Leona will be the lock-in. You know, Leona obviously very strong since the Tenacity toned down, but not the easiest pick to get onto things like an Ezreal. You know, your Zenith Blade is quite slow. You can E-Flash, but if he has Cleanse, a limiting factor, and it looks like Quantum Freaks might be confident in that fact, and they're going for a more Enchanter support. They're like, look, we're so confident you can't get onto our backline, but in the end, they lock in the Alistar and go, you know what, we'll just pick a bouncer to just knock you away.
It's a good idea, I think. I mean, Andal's Alistar is ridiculous.
Whoa.
Bulldog ain't playing Irelia, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yone, though.
You know, Andal's hovering all the picks. He's like, can you play this? That's not my thing, you know?
How about Teemo? No. Cassidon? No, I think you want...
Yeah, they're hovering on that for a while. It will be... You know, I said in the last draft, I don't really associate Bulldog with Yone. Maybe he's wanting to prove me wrong. He read my lips from the stage. Yeah. And he's like, I don't appreciate that.
You saw them hovering Sylas as well. Maybe giving credit to the Sylas pick with the Alistar
I like the Ahri.
On the opposite side.
I like the Ahri. I think this matchup's pretty good for the Ahri. And also, you can play on flanks. You know, we talked about getting onto the back line. If Ahri's on the flank posing threat, it's going to be a big thing. And also the reset potential. You know, we talked about how momentum in these fights is going to be really big for BNK FearX. You now have 3 champions who kind of thrive when you start to take over a fight. You know, the resets are obvious for the Viego, the Ahri, but the Zeri, once you start to gain control, will just chase you down. So I like BNK FearX's composition, but I said that last draft, and they still end up losing. They're going to have to deal with Cuz's Nidalee, but I'm not so certain about the Yone pick for Bulldog. We'll have to see how that one plays out.
It's a little bit less poke. You know, you had the Hui in the last game alongside of the same composition. So, you know.
It doesn't fit as well with what the composition wants to do.
Yeah, whereas, you know, BNK FearX, they have a pretty clear theme. Everybody goes in, we get resets, we kind of snowball a team fight, and we don't allow them to just sit around and poke us down this time.
Yep, and that's going to be the key thing, because it felt like the amount of times we saw Execute and Raptor on the Maokai Rel just kind of like trying to dodge every skill shot. You dodge 9, you eat 1, oh well, now I'm half HP. Did
she cover that with a post-it to put 2-1?
That's the new meta.
Instead of 2-0?
We've seen the cross-out meta.
Really?
This is the post-it meta.
She like has some yellow tape. She just... You could probably just... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see if they can pull the 2-1 off. They have some work to do here. They got to win 2 in a row. BNK FearX, everybody goes in and they win team fights. We'll see if it works as we hop into the rift for game number 2.
생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Alrighty, let's get right into game number 2. We have Closer here on Ahri.
You know, I think it's like the Defender Leona skin. I don't think I've ever seen that skin in pro play.
I don't think I have ever seen that skin.
Yeah, it's definitely not one of the well-known ones. I think that's what it's called. I'm not 100% certain. It looks pretty weird.
It just looks like... You know Game of Thrones, like how the people kind of turn to stone?
It kind of looks
It kind of looks like that.
The helmet and the sword, it just kind of gives me Elden Ring vibes. Maybe Execute playing Elden Ring and he's like...
Maybe.
I really want to be playing Elden Ring right now. Who can say?
That is kind of the game that everybody's playing nowadays, but you know, if they're not playing League of Legends, right? Cuz starting off the trap here, just helping to get through this Raptor camp. Not going to be invading this time, and just doing his own jungle, being an honest jungler. And the Alistar lane here is getting the push at level 1.
Yeah, feels like BNK FearX not really contesting the wave much, and Ezreal has so much ability just to dictate the pace. Also, obviously Alistar's level 1's not that good, but into like a Leona, You know, a lot of the issues Alistair has with his level 1 is into range champions, where you can't combo them, but into Leona, like, she steps up to you, you'll just...
you press Q.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, feels pretty good. And, you know, eventually, Henna and Execute aren't going to be playing the lane like this at all. It's going to be, okay, if we go in, it's going to be all ins, you know, try to land a Zeri ult on someone and just try to chase them down the long lane. But for now, might just have to let Leaper decide how they're fighting.
Yeah, and basically Leaper can set the pace, can just harass, you know, make sure he has prio when needed. And if BNK Fearx do try and engage, it's pretty easy for Andal. He can just like headbutt Henna away when Execute goes in, and then like pulverize Execute. And it's quite hard for them really to aggress onto an Ezreal in that situation. This is the big one though. Bulldog Yone. I can't remember if we've seen this before, but it definitely doesn't feel like a pick we've seen often.
I think we have. I think it's, well, he's getting a pretty good trade here, but then he immediately eats a charm under turret. So.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's not just Yone, it's Jester as well, the Wind Brothers. It's the special where you're trading well, and you take a tower hit, and then you lose the trade.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to do it.
It's just part of their creed. It's something they got to do. Meanwhile, Raptor, full clear. Does the top scuttle, is actually ahead of Cuz, and now is trying to gank here onto Bulldog. Has to unbound Soul, and now he's just going to Q3 away. Cuz trying to help him out, but now trade of flashes, as Raptor will get Bulldog's flash away.
You know, I'm certain Bulldog expected the charm to come out and was trying to dodge it. Looked a little bit goofy. A lot of regret on that one. But in the end, it's a flash for flash, so not too bad in terms of trading. But I definitely want to see BNK Fearx capitalize on that lack of flash. Maybe if Execute can find a way towards mid lane to set up a play with that summoner being down.
I mean, sorry, Diego. I'm sure they're going to have some opportunities at some point. You can just wait until Closer hits level 6 and then essentially just run the Yone down. If he tries to go for any kind of aggression and doesn't have vision, he will probably just die.
Yeah.
So Bulldog just going to have to play very respectful.
I'd honestly like to see the gank before they hit 6, because obviously it makes the RE potential stronger, but Yone ult is also such a fantastic escape. Makes it very hard to block the gank against him.
Yeah, definitely another option. Just depends on, you know, if Bulldog won't hit level 6, the wave is pushing into him right now, and kind of feels like he'll hit it before we do have Raptor have an opportunity.
I don't think there will be one. So we'll see. We'll see if they can do anything. I mean, if you get someone to block the ult, then obviously he's not going to get the full escape. But yeah, this is how it feels like lane into a Yone. He just unbound souls, runs at you. Wait, I think Cuz just came in a lane and healed him. That's cheating.
Wait, that's not fair.
That's so...
What?
You know what? Those are the things that really just bother me, is when you have a jungle Nidalee who goes and heals the laner, or even worse, when someone ganks you and you know they're not going to kill you, and they know that they're not going to kill you, and they're not even going to force a summoner, but they just damage you a bit, and it just kind of ruins your laning. And you're like, oh, it was going so well. I burned the potions, I was 30 health up, and now I'm boom. It's over.
That's,
The Nidalee special is you just walk in lane and start autoing them.
yeah, with red buff.
Yeah, and you don't even do anything else. You don't even throw a spear.
Yeah, you don't need to. You can even just like threaten it and like try to get them to try to sidestep or whatever, and then you just kind of run in there and auto them.
They'll spend like a whole 3 minutes just walking back and forth.
Yeah.
With the spear.
So Execute is here. They're trying to make a play for the Krugs on the top side of the map.
Actually, that's Grubs. Krugs are not.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not the Void Krugs?
No. I'm very scared that you'd say that.
Not the Grubbles?
Grubbles is fine.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Execute.
Yeah, he's kind of in no man's land. He's Leona with Eclipse, so he will flash and get away. Now Andal in a little bit of trouble, but now Dudu's here, and Execute is not able to join the fight. So that's just the end of Raptor. That's first blood. And yeah, they only got one Grub as well. So
well,
Fun of Freaks win that one hugely.
Someone got punished for the lack of flash, but it wasn't the Yone. Raptor pre-6 as well. Don't have the little get out of jail free card with the ultimate. So Quantum Freaks, you know, it looks bad, but this is a lot more grubs than BNK Fearx got last game.
Yeah, no, it is. It's infinitely more, actually, than the 0.
That's a large amount.
Yeah.
Infinitely.
But it's... It's also just the Nidalee running the Rift once again. And, you know, XQ gets caught out. He's not able to help. Ondil gets a combo. He resets, doesn't take much damage. He gets a second combo on a Raptor, I believe, and then he's just getting so much more value. And I think the communication wasn't there for them to immediately pull off the objective. Or maybe a Raptor just couldn't find a way out because Dudu was coming down first from the top lane and he couldn't go south because there were a bunch of Quantum Freaks members there.
Yeah, Execute does flash out. Gets a lot of damage done, but now, because Dudu's here first, Raptor has nowhere to go. You know, he goes for the stun on the Cassante, which, you know, what else can you do in that situation? But definitely, you don't want to be closer to the Cassante.
Yeah.
So just a bit doomed. And now, Quantum Freaks are continuing their objective control. Once again, just securing an early dragon, and the fact they're getting, well, this time the majority of the grubs, and then also the first dragon, not ideal for BNK Fear-X. Their objective control has fallen pretty far behind in this series so far.
It definitely has, and, you know, we talked a lot about the drafting during the draft, but they had an opportunity to take the Nidalee away and try to make the jungle matchup look a little bit different. They decided to go for Viego and then eventually Ahri Viego, but, you know, trade a flash early on, then you die, so you're not really getting much value at all out of that combo. Plus, you gave the Nidalee over to Cuz, who is, he can use the Nidalee. He has the card.
If you look closely, I'm counting it down. Bulldog's flash is going to be up in a few seconds. And any second now. I thought it'd come quicker.
Any second now, Ox.
Now.
Okay.
Okay, so they got nothing. They got nothing for building that flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not exactly the payoff you'd be hoping for.
Well,
but speaking of payoff, Raptor's going to wait in this brush.
Oh boy. Yeah, Dudu just knows. Not sure how he knows, but he's going to ward him.
I think he read Raptor's lips. He looked over it. Raptor said, I'm going to come top lane.
Yeah, he got out of his chair and just took a little glance over.
Yep. Man, lip reading is such a broken strat.
Yeah, this Skarner's not in a great spot here as he will have to flash away. Now they're trying to turn on a Dudu, will have to flash himself, but the Nidalee with the spear and Cuz goes in, immediately gets dashed into, but he's getting so much value. Another spear comes in, and Cuz is just dominating this 2v2 in the top side. Now a 3v3 as Bulldog looking for a bit more, doesn't have Assault anymore, but man, another huge combo in the team fight going the way of Quantum Freaks.
You know, this is a massive hit to BNK's Fear-X's chances to win this game, not just in terms of the advantage Quantum Freaks get, but also just the mental strain of losing that. And the fact that Dudu survived, not great. Not great for the hopes of the BNK Fear-X fans or the players, honestly. And it kind of turned into a situation where it became two separate 1v1s, right? So Clear was getting focused down, and then Dudu ends up in a duel with a jungler. Cuz lands his spear, and the drag over here keeps Clear alive a little bit, but over here, Dudu gets the heal from Cuz, plus 240 HP.
나 싸운다 이거 싸운다.
Fight.
싸운다.
Fight.
괜찮아.
Okay.
괜찮아. 너 뒤늦게 와봐. 온다.
Viego's
봐봐.
coming.
천천히 해봐.
Take it slow.
얘 봐줘.
You know, look at Viego.
싸웠어. 해봐.
Go.
어때? 지렸지?
That was awesome, right? And it was. I mean, that's just Cassante things, and he probably should have also given some credit over to Cuz.
Yeah. You know, I feel like the lesson might have been learned game one. Don't give them Nidalee Cassante. But,
Yeah.
you know, if they want to learn it again, this is their opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. The draft in Game 2 really confused me. Like, it kind of felt like Fear-X or BNK Fear-X were like, okay, well, Quantum Freaks had a really nice strategy coming into game number 1. Let's do that ourselves. Let's come in with a really nice strategy, and we're going to utilize that to a great degree. And they did, but they also gave that original strategy that won the first game over to Quantum Freaks again.
I feel like for me, it's just, you know, obviously picks are powerful in the meta. There'll be picks who are strong, there'll be picks who are weak. Both Cassante and Nidalee are obviously strong. But I think it's clear from game one that you couldn't deal with specifically Cuz Nidalee and specifically Cassante, Dudu Cassante. And I think just sometimes you have to respect ban.
Yeah.
And it's also like the fact Quantum Freaks banned away Henna's Ziggs. They went, look, Ziggs was too much of a problem when Henna had it. Yes, they didn't win, but it caused issues. And I feel like BNK Fearx didn't do the same in return, and are now paying for it.
They even banned the LeBlanc. I mean, it was something we don't see all the time, which is that blue side ban, you know, first round of bans kind of value, which is, you know, you get to target ban a little bit more. The bans from BNK Fearx were Tristana, Corki, Rumble. Maybe you could have dropped one of those and taken the Cassante away or the Nidalee away, or you could have just picked it away, right?
Picked them.
Yeah, you could have just picked it away.
That being said, am I confident BNK Fearx would be able to make Nidalee work? No. But
true.
At least it would have been something different. And we wouldn't have seen Cuz play it again and kind of just run the Rift, which is what we've gotten so far. Do have Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. It is a Chemtech Dragon, which is fantastic news for Quantum Freaks because that means it's not a Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, might be Hextech
I don't even have to do my job.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to focus or anything. I could just kind of vibe.
You were so focused, you summoned it early.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it wasn't Chemtech Soul.
That's when you know I'm really dialed in, when I've had some good sleep.
Well, game number one was so simple. There wasn't a lot of thinking he had to do, right? So just extra time. Henna just has to barrier and run away. And now he's half health.
They are trying to force this Dragon. They might just get it.
They might. I mean, Cuz is here, but he's not going to go into that one just yet. They're looking for the fight afterwards. It's now Cuz just 100-0'd with the CC chain, and now the reset's coming in. Ondil in a lot of trouble, and he should go down as well. That's a couple of kills over to the side of BNK Fearx.
You know, they didn't need to pick the Nidalee because Raptor can just kill Cuz and become Nidalee. That's the strategy. And also, because Cuz is fed, he becomes a fed Nidalee. It's perfect. But this is kind of showing you what BNK Fearx composition was designed to do. If mistakes are made, if someone oversteps, the reset potential is there. One kill chains and a more. So I'm glad they're making things happen. And the gold lead isn't that far apart. So I think this was just kind of, you know, Quantum Freak's already up one game. The game was going good, they got overconfident, and no flash on the Nidalee. The CC chain from Execute was good. And the fact that Execute didn't even need a flash, like if it had been an E flash from Leona, I'd have been like, you know, fair play. But to connect on that without using flash, I think it's just a big mistake from Cuz.
Yeah, there needs to be a clear call where it's like, okay, we're going in, I'm going to try to steal this, you know, maybe you can peel for me or something. Or we're giving it away, we're backing away, we're not getting caught. And he was just kind of caught in the middle. And that's why it was just a free E for the Leona.
It wouldn't have been the end of the world if they just let BNK Fearx take the Chemtech Dragon. You know, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, Chemtech Dragon does go to BNK Fearx. Also, they get a couple of kills and trying to come back in this one. Now, the Rift Herald should go the way of Quantum Freaks.
He didn't even ult. He just dashed on closer and forces his ult.
Yeah. Well, it's Dusante.
Yeah.
With full armor.
Yeah, he's itemized very, very well into the Ahri. He knows the closer's just going to auto-attack him down, so he's preventing that damage.
I mean, the Ahri itself, like, it can do decent damage if it gets fed and stuff, but it's a lot of burst.
Tanks,
it's a lot of burst damage, and it's not good into tanks. You don't want to build Leandries, so he doesn't even have to build it. And he's going to be very tanky up against Viego and Zeri, who are going to be doing the majority of the damage.
Well, you say that, but Skarner's got that percentage HP magic damage. That's the angle.
Yeah. Well, Rift Herald gets some value here. Mid-tier 1 is down. Actually led by Leaper, who does hit that one. Now
he's going for the drift?
Yeah, let's see his driving skills. How deep is he going to go? He's just going straight for the turret.
Pathing.
Well, he's going to bounce right into the enemy team, and now he has to cleanse. But you know what? He lives, and they got damage into the bottom turret, so not bad.
You know, I give that a C+. He got it to the tower, and he got out, but because he approached from that angle, he got bounced towards the enemy team.
Yeah.
So definitely some down marks on that one. I've seen better.
Yeah.
I've seen better Herald driving, but at least he didn't like crash into a wall randomly, you know.
Yeah, or just drift into, I think it was Cuz, right? Who drifted into the bottom tri-brush and then just immediately died because there were like 4 people there.
Honestly, I wish someone made a compilation of all like the screw-up Herald driving.
Yeah.
It's just so, it's the funniest thing. I don't know if you saw, there was a clip from the LPL like a couple of weeks back that got edited where there was like a Karthus who was like dead in the top lane, who jumped in a Herald and like ran away on like 1 HP. It was so funny. Man, I feel like the driving Herald, you know, sometimes people give Riot some flack for some of the introductions to the game. The driving Herald, one of the best. One of the best of all time. It's so funny. And we get moments like this, you know?
해볼게.
I think it's
I'm going to try, he says.
He's going to try. It's a sharp opportunity. If he cut in here, you saw him looking. You saw the mouse move.
나 이거 받긴 할게.
He went for the easier drive, but the more dangerous
아
one.
클린즈 있어 괜찮아.
I have cleanse. He also said, you know, look out for me, try to keep me safe. I'm going to hit the turret, but
나이스
you know,
여기까지. 오케이 나 미드 갈게.
keep me safe. I'm going to go
Oh,
mid
다행이다.
here, he says.
A lot of confidence behind the wheel, you know?
Kind of a lot of composure, I
Yeah.
feel, in that moment,
I
you
think
know?
if I was driving and a solar flare hit, I think that'd throw me off.
Yeah. He was ready to go. He was telling the team what to do. He's kind of the new guy in the squad, doesn't care.
Yeah, the big voice knows what he needs, will coordinate it. And it's now 20 seconds until that next dragon. Okay, ult doesn't hit. But still, a big lead for Quantum Freak so far. They have 2 turrets advantage. They have the Herald that they made use of to get there. 5 grubs to 1. It doesn't feel as severe as last game, but it's not too far away from it in terms of the control they've had. And now they are looking to solidify and get another dragon. BNK Fearax trying to clear out not even wards, just traps.
Oh, he gets to knock him on a Raptor here, who's down to 30% health.
See, you know, I said that Yone wasn't a poke champion, and it looks like he is. That's how it rounds out the composition.
He is, and he brings more CC. Because you can get in there, you can poke, you can do a lot of damage, you CC people up, you can ult multiple people, and then you just get away. You're fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like LeBlanc in that sense. You can get in, and then you can just immediately distort your way out.
Annoying to play against. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something I attribute to both Yone and LeBlanc.
Yeah. They were like, you know what? We want to play the annoying mid, so we're going to ban the other one, and we'll play Yone.
You know what? I feel like what Yone has achieved as a champion is it has significantly cut down the amount of people complaining about Yasuo.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time someone complained about Yasuo. It's always Yone now.
Makes sense. I mean, Yone is a lot more obnoxious, so I would do the same thing.
Oh, you think Yasuo's bad? You haven't met his obnoxious older brother.
You know this, actually. I spent like a whole half a year just banning only Yone in solo queue. Like every single game. Even when I wasn't playing mid, I'm like, no, this champ needs to go.
That's very based.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some champions you just, even when they're not necessarily in the meta or they're not that strong, you just don't want to play against. Mine's Master Yi. I hate playing against that champion so much. Whenever he gets fed and he's just running around the fight, just go GG.
Yeah.
I lose my mind. It just tilts me. You know, I feel like maybe BNK Fearax have that against Cassante after this series.
They should. I mean, they should know about Dusante, who, again, is unkillable, who, again, has 2 kills early on in the game.
Yeah, and in my credit in solo queue, you never know when you're queuing up against a Master Yi one trick. It could be any lobby. They knew they were queuing up against Dudu, right?
Yeah.
They have that information ahead of time.
It was a good ban, I'd say. Leave the Corki up. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you know, I think Dudu's will do a decent job on Skarner as well. It just feels extra painful.
Yeah.
Maybe there was no winning in the situation, but there's still hope in this one. They are at a deficit now. Okay, I say that. I'm less confident after I saw that passage of play.
Yeah, I mean, there's no kills here for Leaper, but he's not behind. He didn't get bullied by his Ziggs. He didn't pick up 2 assists, but he still has a bounty.
Yeah.
0-0-0 has a bounty, farming really well. Team's ahead, right? So, oh wow.
Oh,
Spirit
man.
Rush just to deal with Bulldog.
I just, you know, seeing both solo laners, Ahri going into them and Closer just burning ult against, like, nothing. Like, they don't burn flash or ult or anything. They get your ult. That doesn't feel good, you know? And especially when you have this Ezreal mid with the Triforce Manamune who applies so much pressure. Like, this is such a good play from Quantum Freaks. They have the pressure top. They have the prior mid. They lean over into the enemy jungle, cut them off with vision, but they didn't spot this ward behind them. This is a very isolated Skarner, though.
It is, and Ondil should be okay. I mean, he still has his ult himself, and look at this, Bulldog 1v2ing, the rest of the team just running away and clear. I mean, going to flash, will go for the Impale, but that's Dusante, and the Ezreal ult is huge! Ondil is in the back line again, and immediately this fight is going to go the way of Kwangdong Freaks. BNK Fearex, they thought they were flanking, and now the ult comes out. Closer has to flash away. It's just the cherry on top of everything else.
Yeah, now they can do Baron. Judo can tank it. He's so bulky already. They have the sustain from the Nidalee as well. And importantly, Raptor was so low he can't contest. So a play attempt to get control of the game again from BNK Fearex completely backfires. And I think the problem is they saw the TP. There's an Alistar playing bodyguard here. And like, without the Skarner, Execute and Raptor like, okay, I don't want any of this. And then Claire goes for the flash grab, but misses Cuz, and only gets the Cassante. Andal goes for a great flash engage, and it all just kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
And you know what? I respect them for going for a play like this, but I think the distance the Skarner was, the fact the Alistar was in between, the execution in general didn't pay off. But you know what, respect for trying, but the game is in a much worse spot now that you gave him a Baron, so that was your window, and you kind of just crashed into the windowsill.
Yeah. The windows are for looking through, not necessarily going through them. And Reaper will have to flash away from this one. He still has his cleanse.
TP?
Yeah, TP is coming in. And this one is closer. He doesn't have flash, but he does have Spirit Rush trying to get on top of Leaper here. And the Blast Cone is terrible for Leaper, and now the Zeri getting some resets, getting some space. They still want to try to take this in a 4v5 as Cuz goes in into 5 people. Bulldog looking for more, and the Wombo combo tries to come in, but Quango Freaks, now they're the one going through the window as BNK Fearex gonna just shut them down in a huge way. Quango Freaks overcommits as now Cuz on the run here, not going to be living for very long.
Yeah, they should just be able to chase him down. The hit gets connected from Raptor. There's nowhere to go. And you aren't killing this Viego. You aren't killing this Viego.
Wow.
You're definitely not killing this Viego.
Not even close.
Not even close, but you see the power of BNK Fearex's composition. You make a mistake, one person goes down, and the momentum is there. Leaper doesn't have the cover. Andal and Cuz were trying to clear out this ward, and he was stepped up too far. Flash down, but the main thing is they stay overextended. That slow from Clear pretty big, and then here, close on the flank, the Blast Cone comes through, one person goes down, but Quantum Freaks keep opting into the fight. Bulldog commits a TP, and it just gets worse and worse. This is what BNK Fearex's composition wants. They want the extended fight where they already have the momentum, they start to get more and more resets, and by the time Cuz realizes what has happened, it's too late. And he has nowhere to go.
I'm not sure why they went back into that one, but maybe they felt like there was no way to get out.
I feel like it's one of those things where they obviously stomped game 1. Game 2 was going very well. They had Baron. A lot of overconfidence, you know, and credit to BNK Fearex. I saw that TP flank from Skarner and I was like, whoa, boy, well, I guess this is game over. But they didn't stop, and you're kind of seeing the value of the Ahri in this situation as well, because it can be tricky getting the engage on a Leaper being an Ezreal. Like, yes, they burned his flash, but he got away. But the flank threat from that Ahri, so valuable just to be able to threaten.
Yeah. It was nice to see the Blast Cone used for action as well.
The Murder Cone.
Yeah, I mean, Execute flashes in. I think he Q-stunned onto Ezreal and then immediately hit the cone right after. Something like that. Maybe, like, eat onto him and then Q the cone, but immediately hits the cone and gets Leaper right into the fray after cleanse, after flash, and everything was used. So there was really no hope for him. And you still have to keep your distance with this composition, unless, you know, Bulldog hits like a big wombo with that handle. But besides that, if you're on top of the Ezreal, he's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Nidalee more so, but the Ezreal as well, these picks can kind of start to feel weaker and weaker as the game goes on, you know. We've seen it happen where, you know, the Nidalee in team fights isn't nearly as valuable as she is in these skirmishes. The Ezreal have to reliably hit Mystic shots, because the thing is, if you miss one, you lose so much DPS because you don't get the cooldown refund. And against things like a Zeri and Ahri, it can be quite painful. So we still have Quantum Freaks in the lead, but now it's 2 dragons each. And the lead isn't that big, and they didn't get use out of their Baron. It's a much better game for BNK Fearx right now.
Yeah. There's also a chance that like Leaper and Dudu still at bounties, so that's extra gold that goes over to BNK Fearx. Also, Henna is gigantic right now. He went 3rd item LDR, and he's ready to fight into anyone, essentially.
Yeah.
Tanking is mostly going to come for the Cassante, so, you know, even Dudu's not going to be immortal in these fights anymore, as the Q is going to land, but Charm is there as well. Closer this time trading his ult at least.
Yep, that's a lot better. Obviously, the ult cooldown on Ahri is quite low when you have Malignance, and did unfortunately hit level 16, I think, after ult was used, so I'm not sure if Closer got the reduced cooldown, but regardless, it is still a faster ult cooldown for Yone, I think. Actually, I think it's actually Ahri, because it's ticking really fast. I think it's actually lower with the Malignance and stuff, so we'll have it up soon, but regardless, it's a trade of ults, not a big deal in comparison to before when it was just ult for nothing.
It's such a close race. I'm watching the ult cooldown above.
Oh, this is so exciting.
The Ahri and the Yone. Who's going to win?
Oh!
I think it's Ahri. I think you're right.
I think Ahri's just catching up, making so much ground.
Yeah, made a lot of grounds.
And
started
there
behind.
is the winner. Now they have a 5-second window before the... Oh, it's gone. Never mind.
More like 3 seconds. And the Yone.
Oh, we can see them trade ults again. Wait, they're collapsing. Do they know his ult's back up? They should, surely.
Probably. I mean, with the TP coming in, there's no way they can dive this. And now Andal is coming up the river.
Is this a collapse on a collapse?
His real ult's going to hit 3 people, I think. Not sure if Execute.
Yeah, I think Execute didn't get hit.
Well, dive attempt didn't really materialize.
They got the TP, so that's something.
Yeah.
And now Clear gets to be the split push Skarner, I guess.
I like how Jonah Strong immediately puts the camera on him.
Yeah. The comedic timing. I think, you know, obviously people like Jonah Strong for, like, you know, his highlights and fights and tracking the action. But his comedic timing is not often talked about.
I like when he zooms in on missed cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy because I'm the same kind of person where I'm like, oh God, how did you miss that? Like, it's really important.
It's a, you know, you could be having a bad day at the LCK, or maybe you're having a good day and just, you miss a cannon, you're like, why did I get out of bed?
Yeah, why am I even here?
Chovy wouldn't have missed that cannon. And then what happens when Chovy misses a cannon? Chovy's like, I shouldn't have missed that cannon.
Yeah, I'm Chovy. I wonder if that's how Chovy thinks. Just supreme self-confidence. I'm not going to miss a cannon because I'm Chovy.
Yeah.
It's just not allowed. And then he doesn't. He's very confident. Now, there is vision here on this Baron. And immediately a pink ward is going to come down. Will they pull off of this one, I do wonder. Looks like they will.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to drag them away from the dragon, but against a Viego, the chance of you stopping him from getting in the pit is very slim. They don't opt to go for the 50-50. They're going to push mid instead, looking towards the dragon, and Bulldog has a bit of an angle here. He's pushing in that bot wave, and then could maybe threaten a flank. Oh, no.
The Execute getting on in there. They do have this Zeri with a lot of tank shred, and that's going to be the end of the Dusante, not allowing him to start with his business. Now Execute is low, but immediately the snowball is going the way of BNK Fearx. Cuz in a lot of trouble, has to try to back away, goes for the Zhonya's. And now there's a lot of fights going on, but Cuz is going to go down, and it's 5 members now on the side of BNK Fearx, and they will win the fight.
And you know, this has been a strategy that I feel like teams have been leading on more and more, where the Cassante doesn't expect to be engaged on because he's Cassante, because he has that unstoppable W, and if you catch him off guard, you can just chain CC him to death. And it looks like the call from BNK Fearx is jungler down, let's get the Baron. They lose the dragon, but it's third. You can afford to do that. And the payoff is obviously much bigger here. Really nicely played from BNK Fearx. It looked initially like Execute was caught out, and then just instantly turning it around. And Dudu in this situation, you can't really fault him for not expecting this. Like, the Leona flash stunning you is about as far away from a scenario you expect there, but it works. The CC's layered extremely well, and this comp thrives on that momentum.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of CC they have is pretty gross, and if they can just link it up, anybody will die. When you have a Zeri that is this fed with LDR, with 4 items at this point, doesn't matter who it is.
Sante. Sante 올래. Sante. 얘들아, Sante 온금. Sante 온금.
And it's not Christmas, he's not calling for
걔 플래시 다
Santa.
있어.
No, he is not. And I said 4 items, it's actually 4.5. I mean, the BF sword in the inventory here for Henna.
Is there a Christmas Cassante skin yet?
I don't think so.
I feel like I was thinking, surely they've done this already. It's so easy. They really should do one. It'd be so good. And it would just be Cassanta.
Yeah.
Ship it, pitch it.
They should, yeah.
If there's any skin designers
should.
watching, there you go. You're welcome.
There you go. Easy as that. Just do it. Forehead.
I don't know what the time frame is for skins. If they start working on it now, presumably it's ready for Christmas.
I'd say it's like probably 2-3 months. But I have literally no idea. And I've never worked in game dev.
Just completely made that number up.
Just pulled a number out of thin air. That's right. BNK Fearex, they are pushing pretty well. I mean, they're getting a lot of value in mid and in bot. They're trying to take this inner out. We'll see if they can do that.
They are leading that pressure down towards bot lane, though. Good moves to try and just transition the pressure. When they move mid to defend, you move bot. The lanes aren't completely synced, though, but I think we see the next one's not going to be for a while. So this wave gets cleared out, and that's one of the things you obviously don't want. If the waves are synced up, then obviously Henna could take the mid tower while they're all leaning bot to defend. But regardless, they managed to finish off that mid tower. And now move the pressure down towards bot. Dudu, hopefully a bit more ready for a CC engage on him this time.
Well,
Hovering over the W key.
Looks like he is. He does have Merc Treads. Not sure if he had those before. The Charm, though, comes down and immediately going to go unstoppable. And now Bulldog, a 3-man ult gets in there, but no follow-up. Just a lot of poke coming down. As BNK Fearex will have to evacuate the bottom lane here. 30 seconds on Baron, but too much damage. As the chase still coming on, but too much separation now.
That was some of that patented Yone poke coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I'm a poke champion. I can't do any more than this. And lets the rest of the team try and apply some pressure. They stop the push, but ultimately, tier 2 mid down, tier 2 bot down. I think BNK Fearex got what they wanted with the push. Yes, obviously, ideally, you get a bit more, but at least they didn't all die with Baron like a certain other team did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Is this IE for Henna? Yeah. Ooh,
yep, should be.
This is a pretty strong Zeri.
Full build, 34 minutes. And, I mean, the Ezreal in a decent spot himself, but he's down a full item, and he's not nearly as much value as now. Just going to throw an ult in the closer, force that Spirit Rush out. Closer going back in.
You know what's the sad thing? Is that Bulldog's not going to get more ability haste. So the race he lost before, it's only getting worse.
Yeah.
I think we got the Zhonya's since last time that happened, so Closer should be even more speed running this ult race.
The ult race, the big story of this game.
Yeah.
Ignore the action. It's just about Yone versus Ahri ult.
That's what we're looking at. Everyone right now, they're just
pretty similar.
The eyes are going from left to right, left to right.
But Closer's going to win. Yeah, Ahri's going to win, but there's always this moment in the middle where I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah, I won't
lie.
Halfway? That first race, that was exhilarating.
Because we really didn't know.
Closer just stomped it. Like, Bulldog's not even close.
Yeah, no, it's not fair anymore.
Is he hit his ankle or something? He's slacking.
That's an ult onto the two tanks of the BNK Fearex team. Oh, that spear. That certainly hurts.
Yep,
the poke is still there.
And now setting up, it is Dragon in 10. Cloud Soul actually making a decent amount of difference here. That extra 20% movement speed, very valuable to disengaging. Oh, not again.
Oh, here we go.
Well, that didn't do as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to quite fully commit to that, especially with Henna hitting a Drake.
Yeah, not the same window as they saw last time.
Yeah, not quite. Damage, a lot of damage going into clear. Yes, the Dragon goes the way of BNK Fearex, as both are now on 3, but in goes Execute. That's not a good engage. Not quite like the last one, and now the poke damage is raining down on a BNK Fearex. They want to go for this fight as Dudu gets impaled, but they don't have anything else. Henna is dead! They don't have their Zeri anymore! And that is the biggest part of your team. Down he will go, down will go clear. And I think BNK Fearex are overextended. Quantum Freaks have found their angle. And you see Closer trying to go for a back here. Will be denied as well. Just that insult to injury. Goes into Zhonya's, flashes away. maybe just trying to buy time. Either way, it's still Quantum Freaks a massive fight in their favor.
And no one from Quantum Freaks goes down. You can see the difference. Without those resets, they run out of fuel real fast on BNK Fearx. Some weird engages. Execute, try to burn the cleanse from Leaper, but doesn't get more from that. And as soon as BNK Fearx lose their engage tools, start to lose the health.
They want to end, by the way.
Out. Yeah, with the grubs as well, you can use them to tank the tower before the minions are even there.
Yep.
Oh, they have 5 grubs. They take it so fast.
Execute.
Can't do enough.
Yeah, I mean, he can't deal with the champions, so this is actually pretty good, but it just doesn't matter as Quantum Freaks will pull off the 2-0 tonight. A huge team fight there on the Dragon, and they're able to pull it back. Definitely a big mistake earlier on, but still a clean 2-0. Nothing to see here from the Quantum Freaks.
Yeah, definitely felt like more effort needing that one. There was a comeback. BNK Fearx put some hope in, but just weren't able to follow through enough. And when it came to those team fights, the difference in getting that initial kill or not getting that initial kill was night and day.
Yeah, it was pretty huge. I mean, you could see that, you know, they took the Dragon. Henna was in kind of a weird spot. He had already been chunked out, and Execute tried to go in. There was no follow-up, and essentially they just kept the wall up. They kept that Cassante healthy and in front and healed up, and eventually, you know, they found their angle as well. They separated Henna from the rest of the squad. And, you know, Impale, everything used onto the Cassante again, but you didn't have the Zeri hitting it. And it made for just such a better fight here for the Quantum Freaks.
Yeah, and the target selection as well. We were talking about how scary this Zeri was. They took her out of the fight so quickly. It was clear they knew what they were doing. And again, it's rough for BNK Fearx, but it's quite clear that despite the fact the head-to-head was even going into this, despite the fact these teams often battle over similar spots, Quantum Freaks has advanced on. They are no longer that team who are like, please hope we can get 6th place. Looks like they're pushing higher and higher in the playoffs. And the question is, where will they end up? You know, is a top 4 final finish reasonable? Potentially, with how they're playing now.
CV Max giving a rough pat on the back there to Bulldog. And, you know, I thought his Yone performance was really good. I think CV Max just really hyped up after a very dominant win. You know, certainly that one team fight is going to be something they go over.
Yeah.
But
he's like, you won on Italy twice?
How did you do it?
That's 2 more times than most teams win on this champ.
In their whole life. Yeah. CV Max always having a lot to say to everybody.
Yeah.
A lot of personalized feedback, no doubt. Started off well for Guangdong Freaks. A little bit of a stumble, a big stumble, I should say, in the mid-game, giving BNK a chance to make it back in the game, but... Yeah,
and you saw the theory behind BNK's composition, but they just ended up falling too far behind in the meantime. And once again, this Nidalee, the pace that was set in the game, the objective control, everything going heavily in favor. But at least I have to say, I like that they are attempting these flanks. You know, I would hate to see a BNK Fearx who just kind of let the game end. But it's a fact that they always look for the angle to get back into it. And, you know, even when it doesn't work, at least they're trying things. And this was the big one. This was the one where they found the momentum again in the fight and were able to actually make it competitive.
Yeah. Shout out to Execute. Really, it was just him on the Leona that made 2 fights in a row. Get the team back in the game, essentially. The call to go on a Cassante. The play there to get the blast cone, and that put them in a great spot, let them come back, but then eventually this fight happened.
Yeah, and Henna ends up getting poked out pretty heavily. Flashes the ult. I'm not sure what happens with
zoning ult.
I guess E was down already. And unfortunately, they just all jump onto the Zeri. And again, you see the tanks low HP, you see the Yone low HP, but no one died, no resets achieved. And it's a bit of a rough one to finish off, but BNK Fearx, I think it's, you know, even if they didn't have the best performance today, they still at least made that second game more competitive than the first, and can hopefully pick up the pace in the
Yeah, I do worry though for them, for BNK, because it wasn't really off of their proactive plays or early leads or laning leads that they had. It kind of, you know, it was a nice play from Execute, but besides that, Quantum Freaks definitely a big mistake.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think they're still probably better than like Nongshima right now, and definitely better than Bro, but that doesn't get them in the playoffs.
How about KT?
Yeah, maybe. That doesn't get them to the playoffs, though. You know, that
Look
would
at that damage.
potentially put them at 7th. And yeah, I mean,
What the hell?
get a lot of value from those spears. Actually hitting a fair few. I guess Nidalee just broken. In the right hands.
In the right hands. He earns his Nidalee card once again. I think
It's arm stamping it, you know.
Yeah.
Chronicler said he's approving it. I'm stamping it now.
thank you, Ox, for that. We really needed that, and Cuz deserves it. Will he pick up the POG 2 games in a row? We'll just have to wait and see. Let's throw it over to the space to break down the series 1-0 by the Kwangdong Freaks.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Kaz and Dudu on the side of Kwangdong Freaks, who just secured their 4th victory by defeating BNK Firax. Congratulations! Cuz Kwangdong's momentum is back. How do you feel? Today's match was very important for us, and being able to win with a 2-0 means that we can continue our momentum, which makes me very happy. And congratulations on your first POG. Now Kwangdong Freaks takes the sole 2nd place. How do you feel? Being able to take a lot of victories in the beginning of the split makes me feel great. I hope to keep it up and finish strong until the very end. And let's talk about Game 1. Kwangdong picked red side and quickly took Ezreal and Nidalee, and then Hui too. So what was the key factor for today's draft? So Leaper, he's very good. And we really wanted to make sure to give him something that he's confident with. And I know that he has been practicing Ezreal a lot, so we really wanted to insta-pick Ezreal. Yeah, Ezreal was your first pick in both games, so it seems like the team really rates Ezreal high. Yeah, so Leaper actually tends to... In the past, he had a lot of montages with Ezreal already, and I know that we all have faith in his Ezreal, so that's probably why. And let's take a look at this highlight in Game 1, where you got the decisive edge, and Ezreal was actually struggling against Ziggs at this point, so what was the comms like? Yeah, Leaper was having a very hard time, and he said he was just about to get solo killed. And I think we just tried to communicate as much as we can. We just made sure that we knew that Ziggs is the only one who can TP, and that we can win this team fight. And so being able to win that 4v4 without losing anyone, actually, yeah, made me feel like we would win the entire game afterwards. And Dudu, in both games 1 and 2, you had a solid performance with K'Sante. So, Skarner and K'Sante, they go 50-50 in lane. And I think this is a really familiar matchup. I think that's just something that you play very conventionally, and I would say that it goes pretty even in the at the very least. And there was a crazy highlight top. You must have been really satisfied. Yeah, I think in this game this was the biggest moment for me. And I saw that I actually got hit by Viego ult, which made it a little harder, and it got a little scary. So if I had dodged the Viego ult, it would have been perfect. So was it a calculated play over there? Yeah, I knew that I wouldn't die. And the opponent, Viego, he actually showed himself while going into the bush. So I think I was able to take and waste a lot of their time. And Dudu, in Game 2, BNK aced you, and it didn't look very easy at one point. So how did you manage to overcome the crisis? Yeah, I think we just let our guard down for that one moment. We had a system that worked really well for us all game, but just because we lost our focus that moment, I think that's why we were looking really bad at one point. But I think through the practice that we had all this time, we were able to come back just fine. And I think it's nice to see that it paid off. So we noticed the coaching staff rushed to talk to you after the match. So what did you guys talk about? I was doing a face-off in mid, and I actually got picked when the Ari just full comboed me, and I was just standing there helplessly. And the coaching staff actually told me that, you know, I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't really like a feedback. They actually told me that they're encouraging me. They told me that I did really well. It's just that the Ari played very well in her end. And this is a new summer with a new AD carry for you. And you're already at 4 wins and 1 loss. Do you have a good feeling about the summer? Yeah, we're trying to minimize our mistakes, and we're actually on a really good momentum. I do have a good feeling about this summer. And your next opponent will be a fellow 4-win, 1-loss team, D plus Kia. And you defeated them in both rounds in the spring, so let's hear your resolution. Yeah, we won against them in both rounds during spring, but I know how strong they are, so we have to be careful. But at the same time, we are leveling up our games as well consistently, so I believe that we will be able to display a good performance. And Dudu, you as well. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of their games. I actually haven't been watching a lot of the POG interviews, and Kingen actually declared war against me. He said that he would bring us down from the ladder, so I want to make sure to show him what happened during spring again. And that's the end of the interview from Kaz and Dudu of Kwangdong Freaks, and back to the space. Thank you.